Hi everybody, today a quick video because I thought it would be fun to share a kind of tutorial on how to make a BJD carrier bag. This is a very quick project that is perfect if you want to get into sewing or you just want to do something really quick and easy, because in the end of the day all you're doing is sewing together rectangles and there's no need for perfection at all, as you will see from how poorly I made mine. But you know what, it works, and that's what matters in the end. The pattern is based on this carrier bag that my friend made me many years ago. I know that she has the pattern from somewhere else, or like the idea from somewhere else, but I do not know from where. I have also used the approach or the idea to make a bunch of carrier bags for all my dolls, and you can apply this to literally any size. And I'm gonna show you how I made this big one. For my Feeple 60, you need fabrics, batting, something to measure with, scissors, obviously a working sewing machine, needle and thread, and something for the closures, and there's many different options. And of course, most importantly, your doll. Lay your doll down and measure. Don't be shy to add a little bit of extra. So I'm measuring 60 centimeters here, and then in width about 15. Now that is 60 by 15, and I will be adding seam allowance of 1 centimeter. So my measurement is 17 by 62. I'm going to be using this very like silky-ish fabric for the lining. Do we have 60 here already? Right? Yeah. 17, yeah, 17, and 62, which is here. We need a third piece. So, lining, done. Now, for the pouch, you want to measure how high it should be. So for me, about 20 centimeters, which I'm going to double and add seam allowance on one side. So it's going to be 42. Not by 17, however. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but that part is optional. It can be exactly the same width. I want just a little bit more space for my doll, that's all. This will be folded in half like so. Then we're gonna have pleats here to have a little bit of space. And very importantly, we need a cover. And for that, I'm gonna cut a full length of this fabric, like so. Use a piece I cut before. There we go. These are all the pieces. And now what we have to do is sew the flap, sew the pouch, and then put it into the lining. Let's start with the flap and fold it right sides in and sew the side seams. We're going to turn this right sides out and iron it. Now that it's pressed nice and flat, or as flat as it's possible with this fabric, I'm going to sew around it to keep it flat. I've also folded the pouch in half, and I'm going to top stitch the folded top edge. Now you want to take your lining pieces, determine the bottom, take your pouch and align it at the long side seams, like so. And for each side you want to take another one of the lining pieces and pin them all together. Open up, take the other lining piece, and repeat the same stuff. And then you sew together. Ideally, what you're left with now looks like this. I ironed open the seams of the lining, and in the bottom here, you have a little pouch. that is still open in the bottom, but that's okay. What you will be doing next is keep your flap ready, because we will be putting it on here. This is what your lining should look like, with the seams neatly pressed open. And in the bottom, since the pouch is bigger than the lining, you're gonna put in 1 or 2 pleats. That really depends on you. I think I'm just gonna do 1 and put this aside for a moment. Now you're gonna take out your outer fabric, which actually needs to be pressed quickly. There. That looks better, doesn't it? Put your outer fabric right sides up and place your lining right sides down. And also making sure to repin the pleat from the bottom and cut. Now we're gonna sandwich this with our batting. Put down your batting, put your doll carrier bag on, and cut. Now that you have everything cut, we're gonna sew around this. However, because we need to turn it inside out, I'm gonna pin a little opening here. All done. Now what you want to do is cut off the edges on all 4 sides. This will just make it easier to turn the whole bag inside out. Find your open spot and turn. Cut off any excess threads. Push out the edges as much as you can. Now that the edges here of the opening are nice and pressed, you can either sew them together by hand, or if you're lazy like me, you can just close this by machine. And now you're done, almost. Except that we still have to put in a closure. For that, I'm gonna mark out the placement by fitting in our doll. As you can see, she fits in perfectly. This is the bottom, this is the top. Gonna put in 3 buttons, 1 here and 1 in the middle. Mark this with pins, like so. And since this is the only thing I have on hand, I'm gonna be using, it looks pretty bad, these pins, or maybe these smaller ones, and just sewing them on. This is what it looks like from the inside. As you can see, it has a flap as extra protection for your doll and a little pouch to put it in, and it folds in like this. You can see here I hand sewed. You can see here how perfect I made mine. Not perfect at all, so there's no need to at all. And it folds over like this, and your doll is perfectly protected in case you need to take her somewhere. This is what it looks like to put your doll in. Very simple. If you want, like in my friend's example, you can put in straps here to tie around the waist. I found that it's not really that necessary. You can put your doll down, fold over this protective flap, fold over side 1, fold over side 2, close the buttons, and you got a doll burrito that you can take everywhere that you want. Well protected.